Hey everyone, blessings and welcome. In this video, I will be discussing improving your discernment. I think this is a very important topic, a topic that should be discussed, especially now in this day and age. We all need to be more aware of ourselves, of our environment. So this is why I'm doing this video. There's some practical things that I'm going to share with you, things that have helped me along my way on my journey, and I hope that it will be a help to you as well. Yeah, so let's get into it. First off, I just want to start by saying it's just interesting. We're just in a very interesting time period. And I remember years ago, it would be a situation where there would be like a major event, whether it be domestic or globally. And then it would be like a little bit of a rest time, and then another event, and then a little bit of maybe some peace, and then another event. Now, especially now in the 2020s, and I do believe throughout the rest of this decade, we've been seeing major event after major event, and we haven't gotten a break. It's been so much, especially over the last 5 or 6 years, just all around the world, and we're all been feeling it. And I think now more than ever, we do have to make sure that we are sharp on the inside, make sure that our discernment is on point and that we are growing spiritually. It's important that we repair our inner navigational system. You know, that's right. That system is tied into our purpose. That system has our discernment. It has our intuition. Basically, it helps us to be sharp and to be ready. You know, these things are very important because as we move forward and as time goes along, I believe that as far as those things we can't control, those things outside of us, things that are happening in a world, whether it's geopolitical, whether it's, whatever's going on in our respective countries, there's just so much going on, and it's leaving people feeling discouraged. It's leaving many of us feeling scared and a little worried and uncertain about the future, very stressed out. Some of us are getting depressed over the things that are going on right now. And, these are normal things. And, we may not be able to control the things that are going on, but we can control what's going on the inside. And I think that's very important for us to continue to cultivate. And if you're not cultivating your inner life, you need to start doing it now, because this will give us the ability to not only survive what's going on around us and even in our personal lives, but also to thrive. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 6 things, practical things that you should do and consider if you want to sharpen your discernment, because we need to learn how to, going back to that inner navigational system, how to move through our current environment, how to get things done, how to plan accordingly. And if we're not cultivating our inner life and growing spiritually, it's going to be very, very difficult for us, not just now, but in the future. So we want to be ready, and we want to be able to, do well on this planet. So here we go. The first thing I want to bring up when it comes to improving our discernment, improving our awareness, and improving our judgment, because we definitely need all of those things in this day and age, is the obvious thing. And that's number 1, pay attention to your environment. It's a very basic thing that we all can do. And it's, for me personally, it's been very helpful in keeping me sharp and keeping my discernment and just my ability to navigate and to get through things. It could be just as simple as just looking up from your phone, your mobile device, right? So it's, I think we should start a campaign where, I'm going to call it the Lookup Campaign, where we're looking up and not looking down. So what I mean by pay attention to your environment, be present wherever you are, whether you're at home, at work, whether you're in school, just be very, very present, running errands, whatever you do in your day to day, however that might look for you. Be sure to pay attention and be present in whatever you're doing, be present in your environment, because what that means is you're paying attention. If we're, a lot of us are distracted by our devices and other things that are going on around us and not really paying attention to what's coming our way. So if we learn and make a practice of paying attention to what's going on in our environment, we can begin to see what's happening, maybe what's coming down the road. Maybe we can think a little bit better in our environments, but it's important for us to be present and to be paying attention. And it could start just with your phone. It can start by just looking up. You'll be surprised. Living in a major city, I run across people all the time. They're walking down the street, looking in their phones, and they're not paying attention to where they're going. I almost run into them. They almost run into me, just not paying attention. So these things are very, very important. And paying attention, that's like the first step. Being present where you are. If you're going to do something, do it fully. And just watching your environment. And that's part of being discerning. And that's part of, because the more information you have, the better off you'll be. But if you're utterly distracted by technology or whatever else, it's going to be very difficult for you to discern and get the awareness that you need. So number one, pay attention. Number two, get comfortable in the silence, right? So what that means is being comfortable in the silence means slowing down and being quiet. These things are very, very important. Being quiet, slowing down, because when we slow down, then we're able to think, we're able to concentrate, we're able to focus better. And some of us, it's more difficult to slow down and to be in that stillness. There's those of us out there who don't like silence, used to noise, but this is a skill, and this is something that I think we all should learn and take part in, especially if you want to be a more discerning person, a more aware person, knowing when to be quiet. Knowing when to be still, taking that time out for stillness and for quiet, because in that, you may get some answers. Just being able to just sit and think, being able to just go in nature. I often go in nature and just to focus, and that's how I'm able to get my creative ideas just in the silence. It's just me and the animals and the insects. Those are the only things I hear out in nature. So wherever that place might be for you, learn to be comfortable in the silence. With all of these distractions and things constantly bombarding our senses on a daily basis, many of us, we're losing the ability to do that, and it's actually critical, because these are the things I say that will help to detox our soul when we're able to be comfortable in that silence. So being comfortable in the silence, slowing down, because that's where you'll get your creative ideas. That's where you'll be able to actually, some of you have been praying for certain things in your life to happen and waiting on some answers from God, or just answers in general. And some of us aren't able to get it because we're waiting for this big grand gesture from God, and we're not getting our answers. And it might be as simple as just sitting down and being quiet. Or if you're in a situation, or if you're dealing with certain types of people, but many people today, they have the habit of talking a lot, and they want to get their point across and their opinion across, and we all need to learn how to listen better. So people just not listening, and if we're silent and if we listen, then we can get answers. Then we'll be able to see what people are up to. Then we'll be able to see what's going on in certain situations. If we be quiet, and not talk and just listen to what people are saying, listening to what's happening around us. This is very, very powerful. So as we begin to be quiet, as we begin to listen, these are the things that's going to heighten our awareness and give us better judgment and better and sharper discernment, right? Number three, just know that your thoughts matter. So your thoughts, they definitely matter. And this is also part of improving our discernment. Thinking about what we're thinking about and monitoring our thoughts. I have a few videos about that on my channel. Feel free to look through my video list. But yes, it's very important that we pay attention to what we're thinking about, because the wrong thoughts, the negative thoughts, the pessimistic thoughts, those thoughts that are not serving us well, those thoughts that are bringing us down, these are the thoughts that will basically, they will make our souls pretty much toxic, right? These are the things that will clutter, those wrong thoughts, they basically clutter our soul. So we need to declutter our souls, and to eliminate those things, those thoughts that are negative, those thoughts that are not serving us well. And it's also by paying attention to, the things that we're thinking about. And this is a very powerful thing. Sometimes we can't help what like flies in our mind. Like we might have a thought and we're like, oh, where did that come from? And then oftentimes, many of us, we're just ruminating and we're just pondering, just negativity and worried about a lot of the stresses in our lives and the things that are going on. And, if we keep focusing on those things, more of the negativity is going to we're actually going to invite that into our lives. So it's very important for us to know and understand that our thoughts matter, and understand that, we're body, soul, and spirit, right? So the soul part of us is that barrier between the physical world and the spiritual world. So in the soul, we have our intellect, we have our will, we have our emotions, right? So also more importantly, we have our personality. So, these are the things that, depending on what we're watching, what we're taking in on a daily basis, what we're feeding our souls through social media or whatever outlet, or reading in books or what have you, or watching on TV. These are the people that we are exposing ourselves to. These are the things that could have a negative impact on our thinking, right? So it's very important that, because what comes in through the eye gate, what comes in through the ear gate will have an impact on your soul, right? And ultimately they will have a spiritual impact eventually if we keep partaking in, things that will kind of like bring us down. So definitely monitor your thoughts. And the more you monitor your thoughts and replace those negative thoughts with positive ones, it's going to free up your soul. It's going to free you up on the inside. What you're going to do, you're going to declutter by monitoring your thoughts and being mindful of what you're taking in and thinking about. You're basically decluttering your soul. And when your soul is clear and there's peace on the inside, you're able to better pick up on things, pick up on what's going on in your environment and with other people, and even what's happening in your life, right? You're getting direction, you're getting guidance, right? But we've got to free up our souls. So know that your thoughts matter. Number 4, nourish all of your being. As I stated earlier, we're body, soul, and spirit. So take care of your body, take care of your soul, take care of your spirit. These are the things that we should be feeding, healthy things on a continuous basis. And just, our bodies in general. For me personally, I found that, when I eat I don't eat a lot of processed food, but when I do ultra processed foods, things that don't grow from a tree or grow out the ground, I find that, I get very lethargic and tired and get brain fog. And listen, you get brain fog and you're not able to focus or concentrate, you're not going to be a very discerning person or aware or focused person. So what we eat absolutely matters. What we eat actually has an impact on our emotional state, right? So these are the things that we should definitely monitor, the things that we're feeding our body, because, I call it, it's temple maintenance, taking care of our temple, taking care of our bodies, right? Also taking care of your soul, being mindful of, what you're reading, what you're seeing, what you're listening to, the podcasts, what the YouTube channels that you're visiting, what's in your Instagram feed or, TikTok. So these are the things that, we definitely need to watch out for, because we don't want to poison ourselves, right? And just spiritually, doing the spiritual work. I always talk about this on my channel, the prayer, the meditation, and, the reading of the word. These are all of the things that's going to keep you strong, right? But if we're neglecting our, the spiritual aspect of our lives, we're going to be out of balance. And this is what many people are experiencing today. And this is why I believe there are a number of people out here in the world that they're really struggling in the 2020s right now, because they're off balance. They may be focusing a lot, let's say, on the physical aspect of, maybe they work out a lot, maybe they eat well, but what's going on with your soul? Like, what are you feeding your soul? What are you feeding your spirit? And it could work the other way around. Hey, you're this super spiritual person. You do all of the spiritual disciplines, right? But you're not taking care of your body. So how long are you going to be here in good health? So all of these things, they work together. We're not compartmentalized. We're one being, right? Made up of a few parts, right? So, we have to make sure that we nourish our bodies, nourish our souls, nourish our spirit. And that will help us to be sharper because, we're just, we're body, soul, and spirit. So as we feed these aspects of our existence, we will be better off and definitely more sharper. Okay, so the next thing, the fifth thing I want to talk about is, and I always talk about this on my channel and I will continue to do so, probably in every video, right? Practicing the presence of God. And what I mean by that is living a life where you are acknowledging God like every single day, right? Where you're making a practice of worshiping God. You're making a practice of acknowledging him. You're making a practice of inviting God into your life. You're making a practice of being in God's presence, right? And this is where, in this current environment, in the world today, this is where, and in the future, because I don't think it's going to get any easier, this is where we get that supernatural power. This is where we get that extra lift. This is where we get to the next level. This is where we get the strength we didn't know we had. Practicing the presence of God. Because God is going to give us divine strength, divine knowledge, divine wisdom, right? So we'll know what to do, how to do it, what movements to make, especially in this current climate, right? So, God has endowed us with many things. We may have our academic education. We may be smart. We may know things. We may have our street smarts or in our life experience. That's all well and fine. But there's some things we just don't know. There's some things that's coming in the future that's going to have an impact on our lives. And we have to be ready, right? But when you're practicing the presence of God, the Spirit of God will get you ready, right, for those things to come. And there's going to be more things, more major events happening in the world, more things happening, on our planet with the climate. There's going to be lots of things happening, right? But if you're practicing the presence of God, you're not going to be scrambling. You're not going to be freaking out. You're not going to be, overly worried or overly anxious, right? Admittedly so, these things can, even for me, a little scary about the future, but even through it all, because I practice the presence of God, I have God's peace, and that's a gift to have peace even through a storm, right? When things don't look great. So when we practice the presence of God and we live a life of acknowledgement of our discernment, our intuition, God to even give us some insight into what's going to happen in the future, right? So when we have that divine presence with us and it's strong, your discernment is going to go up like 10x for real, right? You're going to go to the next level, right? And what that does for us, it just makes living easier. We're not going to have to strain or stress like other people strain and stress over things, right? People tell me all the time, they say, how can you be so calm through a crisis, and, personally, and just living in the world today, just so much going on. And, and I'm able to stay level headed. It could be partly because of my personality, but also because having the peace of God on the inside, it does make a difference. So practicing the presence of God is the most powerful thing that you can do if you want to improve your discernment and improve your life and live life. Because what the Spirit of God will do for us, it will help us to live better, help us to live better and smarter, right? And easier, right? So when we encounter, I talk about problematic people a lot on my channel. So when we encounter those problematic people or problematic situations, we're able to get through it, and we have the knowledge and wisdom to be able to weather the storms and to deal with certain types of folks. And when you're practicing the presence of God, and God is with you and in you, certain people won't even come into your path, right? You're gonna be like repellent to them. So that's very, very important. Probably the most important aspect of it all is just practicing the presence of God. And finally, the final thing that we can do, and there's other things that we can do, but these things have served me extremely well in my life. So the final thing would be to do a digital detox or just unplugging. unplugging your phone, turning off devices, and all those distractions that we get on a daily basis, those news feeds, those things that, the technology, the computers, just shutting it down. It could be, I understand some of you out there, due to your occupation, you just can't unplug. But if you can spare 30 minutes or an hour just not looking at anything, or, better yet, if you can unplug for days or even a week, I would suggest that too. But, make a habit of unplugging every now and again, just to get your mind together, because we're basically living on these devices and on these phones on a daily basis. They're like on us all the time, like in our pocket, in our hand, what have you. And they're beginning to control a lot of aspects of life, right? So, you have programmers who have programmed, these phones, and, set up the technology for it. They programmed the phones, and the phones are now programming us. So, there's some of us out there, we can't even put the phone down. It's like an addiction, and it can be very addictive. But if you want to sharpen your discernment, that device can't have control over you, right? You gotta shut off the social media sometime, and just be able to unplug and maybe sit in the silence, do something like that. But yeah, it's very helpful, and I found it to be helpful. Usually when I do a digital detox, I also do a fast, right? Because I'm not looking at nothing, right? So I use that opportunity to just fast completely, like no food, for a period of time. So that's how I like to do it. It just to fill me up even more, and to even make me stronger, right? Just refraining from even more things, right? So I'm like, okay, we're gonna unplug, but we're also not gonna eat. But that's how I roll. But you figure out what's best for you. But I just wanted to share with you all out there just a few practical things that you can do to improve your discernment. It's just so important. So pay attention to your environment. Get comfortable in the silence. Know that your thoughts matter. Nourish your being. Practice the presence of God, and do a regular digital detox. And I hope what I shared with you in this video is helpful to you. Take care. God bless. And I will see you in the next one.